Good morning, students. So, in our last class, we have discussed that is an introduction to the animal tissues. Now, coming to the first one, that is an epithelial tissues. So, here epithelial, epi means upon, thelial means an impel. So, these are the tissues which are present upon the bodies. So, such type of tissues which are presenting upon the body. So, such type of tissues are called as an epithelial tissues. And these epithelial tissues are derived from the epithelial tissues. The epithelial tissues are derived from the derived from three germ layers, three germ layers. These are arise from the three germ layers such as ectoderm, mesoderm, and also endoderm. So, from these three germ layers, these are arising where here these are presenting the entire covering of the body, and these are presenting an interlying, that means these are covers the entire body either internally or and externally. So, here it is covering externally or internally in the cavities. So, here these we can call them as the lining tissues. These are also called as the lining tissues. These are also called as the lining tissues. We can call them as the lining. Lining means here it covers the entire part of the body. So, we can call them as the lining tissues, or otherwise we can call them as a covering tissues also, a covering tissues. So, here these are the tissues which are presenting, their contains either externally or internally covers the entire tissues. So, the entire body, these are covering will be taken place due to the presence of covering of entire body. Here these tissues are also called as the lining tissues, or otherwise we can call them as a covering tissues. And through these tissues only, any covering, that means these are covered the entire body. So, all the tissues are passes through these tissues only, they enter into the body. That means the materials which are presenting, that should be enters, it is all the materials should be passes through these tissues only, that is passing should be taken place. And also all the materials which are presenting, they are similar in structure, and also here will consist of a negligible, that means it is not having any, that means here intracellular spaces. As a resulting, here intracellular spaces are absent. If they present very less amount of a negligible amount of the intracellular spaces are presenting, and all the cell material, that means the size and the cell of the shape will having the same structure will be presenting. So, here these are having an intracellular, as a result of intracellular spaces are absenting. If they present very small amount, that is we can call as a negligible amount of the intracellular spaces are presenting. And also here these are covered by the junctions. These are covered, the cells are usually held together the cells are held together by specialized junctions called as cell junctions are presenting. So there are three types of cell junctions are presenting. One is called as the tight junctions. First one we can call as the tight junctions, the second one is called as adhesive junctions, and the third one we can call as a gap junctions. That means these are made up of specialized junctions. The junctions are called as the specialized structures are called as junctions, where we'll having three types of junctions are presenting. That three junctions. The junctions which are present in these are specialized, the part that is these are the specialized the junction complexes. These are the specialized junction complexes. Specialized junctions complexes are presenting, such as first one is called as tight junctions, tight, and second one is adhesive junctions, and the third one is called as the gap junctions. So these are the three junctions complexes which are presenting in an epithelial cells, where due to the presence of these junctions we can call them as the lining tissues, or otherwise we can call them as the covering tissues. So what are the three junctions which are presenting? Now we will be discussed the one by one. So here coming to the junction complexes, there are three types of the junction complexes are presenting. One is the tight junctions, second one is the desmosomes, or otherwise we can call them as adhesive junctions, and the third one is a gap junction. So here what are tight junctions means? In the name only indicating, the name indicates they are tightly packed with one another. The cells are tightly packed with one another, where here there is no leakage of materials. They are made up of there is no leakage of materials are presenting. So the cells are tightly packed with one another. These are tightly packed. In the name indicating these are tightly packed. Without a leakage of materials or substances. So here without leakage of materials, they are compactly, that means they are arranged with one another. So such type of junctions are called as the tightly junctions. Next, desmosomes, or otherwise you can call them as the adhesive junctions. Here we can use the word as adhesive junctions. So here in these adhesive junctions will having this space, this consists of desmosomes are presenting. These desmosomes are helpful for they are loosely packed with one another with the help of these exchanging of material through the desmosomes. Here through the desmosomes, the exchanging of materials, exchanging of the materials. So such exchanging of materials will be taken place with the help of desmosomes. So here they are called as adhesive junctions. And gap junctions, in the name will indicating there gaps are presenting here. The ionic exchanges are, that means here ionic exchanges are taken place. So through this here in the name only indicating the gaps are presenting. Gaps helpful for ionic exchange of ions, So such type of junctions are called them as the gap junctions. So there are three types of junctions are presenting. One is a tight, they are tightly packed with one another without any leakage of materials. So we can call them as the tight junctions. And adhesive means attachment. So here attachment cells, the cells are attached where here these are connected with specialized proteins called as the desmosomes. They are specialized proteins called as desmosomes, which helpful for the an exchange of materials are taken place. And the third one, in the name of indicating the gap junctions, here gaps are presenting. Through these gaps, the exchanging of ionic material, that is exchange of the cell materials are exchanging from one to the another in the presence of gap junctions. So these are the three types of the junctions, and also here the epithelial cells are avascular. Here an epithelial cells and epithelial cells are an avascular or avascularized. Here what is avascularized means here there is no directly a blood supply. That means A means absenting, vascular means blood supply. Here a direct blood supply will not be taken place. So that here will having these epithelial cells are an avascularized cells. That means direct blood supply will not be taken place. So that here we can call them as an avascularized tissues. And also here a regeneration. That means here these undergoes mitotic divisions and helpful for repairing of the cells. When damaged cells are presenting, that are regeneration will be taken place. So here in the epithelial cells will having a high power of regeneration. Epithelial cells having a high power of regeneration. That means they undergoes a mitotical divisions and increase their number. If any body part is lost, that means if any part is damaged or injured, that will be replaced with the help of these and epithelial cells. So such type of cells are called as epithelial cells. These are covered in the entire body of an organism, where either externally or internally these are covering. So due to the presence of these, here we can call them as lining tissues or covering tissues, or otherwise here epithelial cells also we can call them as avascularized tissues. By means here a direct blood supply will not be taken place, so that we can call that as an avascularized layers. And also here will having these undergoes a mitotical divisions, and here will having a high power of regeneration capacity will be taken place. If any damaged cells or injured cells that will be replaced by the epithelial cells only. So here the cells, epithelial cells are basically, these are classified into majorly, the epithelial cells are classified into two types. One is a simple epithelial cells, and the second one is a compound and epithelial cells. So what are that simple and compound now will be discussed. Now the cells are presenting on the basement membrane, which is a non-cellular fibrous layer, which is presenting under the cells. These are presenting. So here separates the epithelium from underlying tissues. This means this basement membrane is presenting, which is a non-fibrous layer, and are presenting on underlying tissues. These are presenting. So here, based on the presence of the cells, on the basement membrane, here based on the presence of number of cells the epithelial tissues, the epithelial tissues are classified. The epithelial tissues are classified into two types. Classified into two types. These are classified based on the presence of the number of cells. Here the epithelial tissues are classified into two types. So here the first one is the simple epithelial tissues, simple epithelial tissues are cells, and the second one is the compound or stratified epithelial tissues. Stratified and epithelial tissues. So here based on the presence of the number of cells, on the basement membrane, here the epithelial tissues are classified into two types. So what are the two types means? The first one we can call them as a simple epithelial tissues, and the second one we can call as a compound or a stratified and epithelial tissues. So here a simple epithelial tissues, here will having only one type of cell. That means here will having one number of cells are here, only one type of cells are presenting. If the epithelial cells which are presenting, if the on the basement membrane only one type of cells are presenting, then such type of cells are called as a simple epithelial cells. That means here having only one type of cells. Here one type of cells. That is here simple means one type of the cells are presenting. The cells are present. Then we can call them as the epithelial cells. And here more than one type of cells. More than 2 to 3 type of cells are presenting. More than one type of cells. Only more than one type of cells are presenting. Then we can call them as a compound or the stratified and epithelial cells. But here in epithelial cell, simple epithelial having only one type of cell, that is they are presenting on a basement membrane. On the basement membrane, here will having only one type of cells are presenting. So such type of epithelial cells are called as simple epithelial cells. And the compound means or stratified means many layers. Here more than one layers are presenting. So if they having more than one layers of cells are presenting, so here we can call them as the stratified, or otherwise we can call them as a compound and epithelial cells. Now firstly we'll go discuss about a simple and epithelial cells. We'll go for about a simple epithelial cells, where these are presenting on the basement membrane, will having only a single type of cells are presenting. If they are presenting on single type of cells, or one layer of cells are presenting on the basement membrane, then such type of cells are called as a simple and epithelial cells. So here there are different type of simple epithelial cells are presenting. So what are that different types? Now one by one will be discussed. Now coming to the simple epithelial cells, there are one type of cells are presenting. That means here there are consisting of a single layer of cells, consisting of single layer of cells, single layer of cells on the basement membrane, a basement membrane on the basement membrane, and these are classified. These are classified. These are classified based on the type of the shape and structure, the type of the structure and function, shape and function, type of shape and function. These are classified into different types. These are classified into different types, such as first one is squamous epithelial cells, squamous and epithelial cells, and the second one is a cuboidal epithelial cells, and the third one is a columnar epithelial cells. These are columnar epithelial cells. Next one is the ciliated columnar epithelial cells. Ciliated columnar epithelial cells, and last one is the pseudo-stratified and epithelial cells. Pseudo-columnar pseudo-epithelial cells, pseudo-stratified and epithelial cells. So here there are majorly the 5 types of an epithelial: squamous, a cuboidal, a columnar, a ciliated columnar, and also the pseudo-stratified, the epithelial cells. So here one by one now we will be discussed these the one by one. Now coming to the simple and epithelial cells. Simple squamous epithelial cells. So here if it is taken place, this is a basement membrane. And here these are this is nucleus, and these are the squamous epithelial cells. So here we are having the squamous epithelial cells. So here these are presenting on the basement membrane. They are single layer of, that means these are having a basement membrane is presenting, where this basement membrane on the above the basement membrane a single layer of cells are presenting. These single layer of cells which are presenting, these are arranged like tiles of the floor, so that here these cells we can call as pavement cells also. These are also called as the pavement cells. We can call them as the pavement cells. Why means these are arranged like the tiles of the floor. The cells, the squamous epithelial cells are arranged the tiles of the floor, so that we can call them as the pavement and epithelial cells also, where having the centrally placed a nucleus is presenting. Will having a centrally placed a nucleus where will having a thin edges are presenting and irregular edges. That means here an irregular thin edges are presenting, where will having a centrally placed a nucleus with where will having an irregular shaped cells, and these are arranged like tiles of the floor, so that these cells, that means the squamous epithelial cells, are also called as the pavement and epithelial cells also. So here where these are presenting means these are presenting in the alveoli, the walls of alveoli. These are present, example, the walls of alveoli, Bowman's capsule, a Bowman's capsule, blood capillaries, lymph vessels, lymph vessels. In these regions will be presenting. That means the walls of alveoli. Alveoli means the air sacs. In the air sacs, that means in the lungs. Here air sacs are presenting in the lungs. What are the lungs? Inside the lungs will having air sacs are presenting. That air sacs we can call as alveoli. And a Bowman's capsule, that means kidneys. Kidneys are surrounded by a double membrane. A cup-shaped structure is presenting. That double membrane cup-shaped structure we can call as a Bowman's capsule. So here it was introduced by the William Bowman's. So instead of his name, this capsule or cup-shaped structure we can call as a Bowman's capsule, where it is present in kidneys. And blood capillaries, as well as the lymph vessels. In these presenting of these squamous and epithelial cells, where they are present on a single basement membrane, where these are presenting on a single basement membranes, where they are adjusted like a floor of the, that means like tiles of the floor, the edge to edge. These are arranged from edge to edge. So here these are arranged with the help of an edge to edge. So here these we can call them as the pavement and epithelial cells. Next, coming to the second one, that is a cuboidal and epithelial cells. Now coming to the second one, a cuboidal and epithelial cells. Here cuboidal epithelial cells, these are presenting on the basement membrane, where the cuboidal cells are having the same height and width are presenting. That means the cells which are having the same height and width is presenting. So such type of cells are called as the cuboidal and cuboidal cells, where will having a centrally placed a nucleus is presenting. Here will having a centrally placed, and these are in the view posterior. If you see in the view, here it shows a polygonal in structure. It shows a polygonal in view, where here the cuboidal cells having the same height and width is presenting the same. The cells will having same width and height will be the same. So such type of cells are called as a cuboidal and epithelial cells. So where they are presenting on a single basement membrane, where they are having a centrally placed a nucleus is presenting. And where these are presenting means these are presenting in the different glands, having many glands. In the many glands these are presenting, such as the salivary glands, a pancreas. Here an example, if you see an example for this, the salivary glands, salivary and the pancreas, thyroid and also the kidney tubules. These are present in a kidney tubules. These are also present in a kidney tubules. That means here will consist of two type of cells, that is cuboidal and epithelial cells are also present in a kidney tubules. That means in salivary glands, pancreas, the thyroid and the kidney tubules, these are type of, that is a cuboidal and epithelial cells, where these are having a same height and width are presenting. If the cells which consist of same height and width, we can call them as a cuboidal cells. They are having centrally placed a nucleus. So we can call them as a cuboidal and epithelial cells, where they are present in many glands such as salivary, pancreas, thyroid, kidney tubules. In these the cuboidal and epithelial cells are presenting. Next, coming to the third one, that is we can call as a columnar and epithelial cells. These columnar epithelial cells will having the basement membrane. They are presenting on a basement membrane, where these are appears like a pillar like structures. These are appears like a pillar like structures are presenting. These are appears like a pillar like structures, where here will having the narrow at the base, and a broad at the free ends. At free ends will having a broad structure is presenting. At the basement membrane, towards the basement membrane, they are very narrow in structure, but at the free ends they are very broad in structure, where they appears as a pillar like structures. So here these pillar like structures which are appearing, we can call them as a column. Column means like a pillar like structures. These are appearing, where the nucleus is a oval in shape. The nucleus is not round in shape. Here in squamous and a cuboidal will having a round nucleus is presenting, where they are placed at centrally placed nucleus. But in a columnar epithelial cells, here what happens means, here it consists of the nucleus is a oval in shape, and it is very close to the nucleus is very close to the basement membrane. Here we see in this here picture, the nucleus is very close to the basement membrane. So such type of where they look like a pillar like structures, where they are narrow at the basement membrane and broad at the free ends. So we can call them as the columnar and epithelial cells. Where these are presenting means, these are present in examples, these are presenting in a stomach and an intestine. These are present in a stomach and an intestine. These cells are presenting. The columnar and epithelial cells are presented in the stomach as well as an intestines. Next, coming to the next one, that is a ciliated columnar epithelial cells, and second one is that is fourth one is glandular and epithelial cells. Now we will be discussed that one. Next, the fourth one is the ciliated columnar epithelial cells. So here ciliated columnar epithelial cells will having the basement membrane. So here these are a ciliated columnar and epithelial cells. So here we are having the basement membrane and having a column-like structures are presenting. About the free ends will having a stuff, a short and hair-like or hair-like outgrowths are presenting. That hair-like outgrowths which are presenting, they are maybe a protoplasmic or the cytoplasmic, and outgrowths, a hair-like outgrowths are presenting. So such type are called as cilia. These are short hair-like, short and a protoplasmic or cytoplasmic and outgrowth, a hair-like outgrowths which are taken place, such type are called as cilia. So if the free ends will having in the columnar and epithelial cells, at the free ends of the columnar epithelial cells, if they are having a hair-like structures or hair-like outgrowths are presenting, so such type are called as ciliated columnar and epithelial cells, where we will having the nucleus is presenting towards the basement membrane. Here, based on the presence of these, here these are classified into two types. One is ciliated cuboidal epithelial cells, and second one is ciliated columnar and epithelial cells. These are classified into two types. The first one is the ciliated cuboidal cells, and the second one is the columnar the ciliated columnar cells. So here the ciliated cuboidal cells and columnar, they are presenting the same structures. So here the ciliated columnar cells are presenting in the uniferous tubules. These cuboidal epithelial cells are present in uniferous tubules. These are present in uniferous tubules are in kidneys. These are presenting. That means ciliated cuboidal epithelial cells are present in uniferous tubules are kidneys, and the ciliated columnar epithelial cells are present in the nasal cavities, nasal chamber or nasal cavities, trachea, and also in oviduct. In these regions, that means in the nostrils, means in the nose, inside the nose or nostrils, a hair-like structures are presenting. That hair-like structures we can call them as a ciliated columnar epithelial cells, and also in a trachea or windpipe or a trachea. In this also will having a hair-like structures are presenting, and in oviduct means in female genital regions, where the egg is released. The egg is released that passes through the tubes that is called as oviducts. Through these oviducts, in the oviducts also will having a hair-like structures are presenting, for what means to attract, to take the egg which is released from the egg or ovum. Through the cilia, they are sucked and passes through this oviduct and enters into the uterus for the fertilization. That means through this oviduct, here the fertilization should be taken place. So that structure we can call as a oviduct, that is female genital systems. This is a part of oviduct is a part of a female genital system. So in this region will having, that is nasal cavities, trachea and oviduct will having the columnar and epithelial cells, and in kidneys or uniferous tubules will having a ciliated cuboidal cells are presenting. What are these cuboidals means? Here columnar cells will having, at the free end of columnar cells will having a hair or short, a tough or a short a cytoplasmic or a protoplasmic and outgrowth, a hair-like outgrowths which are presenting, then such type of structures are called as a cilia. That means that free end will having a hair-like structures are presenting, these we can call them as a cilia, where they are present in ciliated cuboidal cells are present in uniferous tubular kidneys, and columnar epithelial cells are present in nasal cavity, trachea and oviducts. Next, coming to the glandular and epithelial cells. So now coming to the glandular and epithelial cells. So here what are the glandular epithelial cells means? These are the cuboidal as well as the columnar epithelial cells, where these are helpful for the secretion of substances like secretion of enzymes, mucus and enzymes and hormones which secretes. So that means these glands are these are the specialized cells where they helpful for the secretion of the substances. So the secretion of the substances which are taken place, we can call them as glands. This means these are the specialized the cells which helpful for secretion of substances. So that cells we can call them as glands. These glands will secrete the substances. So we will having the cuboidal, that means we will having the basement membrane. We will having the basement membrane, and these are the glands where they produce, and these are the columnar cells. Columnar cells where you are having a nucleus and oval shaped. A nucleus is presenting towards the basement membrane, and these are the glands where they secrete the substances. So such type of the specialized cells which are helpful for the secretion of substances, then such type of cells are called as glands. Here they secrete mucus and enzymes as well as the hormones. So here there are, based on the presence of the glands, these are classified. The glands are classified into two types. Classified into two types. Two types. One is we can call them as first one we can call them as exocrine glands. Exocrine glands, and the second one is the endocrine glands. Here the first one is the exocrine glands, and second one is an endocrine glands. Exo means here the glands which consists ducts. It consists of ducts. Here the glands which consist the ducts. What are ducts means? A tube-like structures. These are having a tube-like structure. The glands which secretes the ducts. Through the ducts they secrete their secretion, but then the cells which are present in the glands which secrete their secretion. So through the ducts that passes into the body, into the different regions of the body. So we can call them as the exocrine glands. Here exocrine gland means these are the glands which consist of ducts. The secretion is passes through the ducts. Example between salivary glands. Salivary glands will having the ducts, they secrete the saliva and passes into the mouth. Likewise the salivary glands, gastric glands, and also in intestinal glands, a pancreas and a liver. These are the, we can call them as an exocrine glands. Why means they secrete the ducts. That means the secretion is passes through the ducts into respective organs or cells. So here that passes here here pancreas. Here the pancreas. The pancreas we can call as a dual gland. We can call as a dual gland. Dual gland means we are having two functions such as the exocrine gland function as well as the endocrine gland function will be presenting. So the glands which having ducts, through the ducts they passes through secretion respective parts we can call as exocrine glands, and endocrine glands here we can call them as the ductless glands. We can call as a ductless ductless glands. Why means here ducts are not present, that means the tubes are not be presenting directly, their secretion is passes through the blood. Through the blood they are stimulated the different parts of the body. So that means here ducts are not presenting that secretion, that means what are the glands secretes their secretion that passes through the blood, that blood will stimulate, that means the blood will carries this secretion to different organs and stimulates the different organs, so that we can call them as an endocrine glands. So here endocrine glands are already we know that there are the pancreas, where here it acts as a dual gland. By means here it secretes pancreatic juice as well as islets of Langerhans, that is insulin producing. That insulin is directly produced in the blood, which helpful for controlling of a blood sugar level in the body. Likewise here there are different hormones, that is endocrine glands are presenting, where here a thyroid stimulating hormone, parathyroid stimulating hormone, growth hormone, as well as the parathyroid stimulating, and also the adrenal gland, and also here the that is a pancreas, islets of Langerhans cells, and also here a follicle stimulating hormones. That is male and female gonad stimulating hormones, that is estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone present in females, and testosterone which stimulates the male organs. So these are the various types of the endocrine glands which are present in our body. They are directly passes through the blood and stimulates the different target tissues or organs. So they can call them as the endocrine glands, and the glands which having ducts, through the ducts the secretion is passes, we can call as an exocrine glands. So these are the glands, various types of glands, that is exocrine as well as the endocrine glands. And coming to the last one, that is in a simple epithelial cells, the last one is a pseudo-stratified and epithelial cells. Here pseudo means false, stratified means many layers. So that means here it consists of a single layer of cells only. That means on the basement membrane it consists of basement membrane it consists of a single layer of cells only, but it look like more than 2 layers. It consists of single layer only. Here a single layer of cells only, but look like more layers. So due to the presence of it look like more layers, more than one layer it is look like, then we can call as a pseudo stratified and epithelial cells. Here these are made up of either cuboidal or a columnar and epithelial cells. And here the nucleus which is present towards the basement membrane, they are oval in shape, and the nucleus which is away from them, they are look like a round in shape. That means having 2 type of nucleus are presenting. So due to this here appears as a stratified, means many layers, but it is having only a single layer only will be presenting, but it look like more than one layers. So that here we can call them as a pseudo stratified and epithelial cells. So here the pseudo stratified epithelial cells are classified into 2 types. What are that? Means one is pseudo stratified columnar cells, and second one is pseudo stratified the ciliated columnar epithelial cells. Here these are classified into pseudo stratified columnar cells, and second one is pseudo stratified columnar ciliated columnar epithelial cells. Ciliated columnar and epithelial cells. So here we will having a basement membrane, single in the basement membrane we are having single layer of cells, but it look like more than 1 layers. So that we can call as pseudo means false, stratified means many layers. It look like, that means here falsely they look like many layers, but does not having many layers. It look like only a 1 layer due to the presence of the columnar epithelial cells. Here breaking off the columnar epithelial cells, it appears more layers. where having two type of nucleus, where the towards the basement membrane will having a oval shaped nucleus, and away from that will having a round nucleus is presenting. So here a pseudo stratified and columnar epithelial cells are found in an olfactory, mucosal, as well as salivary, as well as parotid glands, and also the urethra of a male. That means in olfactory, that means in nose of mucosa will having a pseudo stratified and epithelial, and also the salivary glands, that is in a parotid glands. And urethra means here in the male that is in a male opening, that is urethra of a male will having a pseudo stratified of the columnar and epithelial cells are presenting. And the second one, the pseudo stratified the columnar and epithelial cells are where they are presenting, means these are presenting in the tracheae as well as in a large bronchi. That means in a tracheae, in the windpipe. In our body windpipe, that means where air is enters, that is called as windpipe. In the windpipe will having the pseudo stratified columnar, ciliated columnar cells, and bronchi. The bronchi means it is divided into different, that means the bronchi is divided into different branches, bronchioles. So where the bronchi is presenting, where that is enter into different, two lungs. The trachea is divided into two parts, that is called as bronchi. So we can call as a large bronchi. In the bronchi also will consist of a pseudo stratified ciliated columnar cells. So here pseudo stratified columnar cells are divided into two types. One is a pseudo stratified columnar cells, and second one is a the pseudo stratified ciliated columnar cells. Now coming to the last one, that is the compound and epithelial cells. Now coming to the last one, that is the second one, the compound and epithelial cells. Here compound epithelial means having more than 2 to 3 layers, layers of the cells are presenting, then we can call that, means you are having more than 1 layers of cells are presenting, that is 2 to 4 levels, or 2 to 3 or 4 cells are arrangement are taken place. So such type of cells are called as a columnar and epithelial cells. More than 1 layers or more than 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 layers of cells are presenting on the basement membrane, then such type of cells are called as the compound and epithelial cells. Here the compound epithelial cells are classified into two types. Classified into two types. So what are these two types means? One is called as the stratified compound and epithelial cells, and second one is a transitional compound and epithelial cells. So here a stratified compound, stratified means many layers. If the compound, that means on the basement membrane will having more than 2 to 3 layers of cells are presenting, so we can call as a stratified. So in this stratified, on the basement membrane will having a columnar epithelial cells. Above the columnar cells will having a squamous, a cuboidal or a columnar or ciliated columnar cells are presenting, then such type of we can call them as the stratified compound and epithelial cells, where these are having more than 2 to 3 layers of cells are presenting, where they are on the first basement membrane having columnar cells, and above that will having a different type of cells are presenting, like a squamous and a cuboidal, a columnar or ciliated columnar. These types are presenting, either it may be a keratinized layers or a non-keratinized. Keratin means here having the cells consist of a protein called as a keratin. If the keratin is presenting, we can call it as keratinized layers, or a non-keratinized layers are presenting. So such type of cells which are having more than 2 to 3 layers of cells, we can call them as a stratified, a compound and epithelial cells. These stratified epithelial compound epithelial cells are present in a buccal cavity, a pharynx, esophagus, a vagina, anal canals, salivary glands, pancreas, and also we can taken place in stomach and intestine. In different regions they are having different examples. There are so many examples are presenting for a stratified compound and epithelial cells. Next, coming to the second one, that is a transitional compound epithelial cells. Here a transitional means will having the structured cells are presenting. These are structured or elongated cells which are presenting, we can call as that means above the basement membrane will having columnar approach cells, above that will having a structured means elongated cells are presenting, then we can call them as a transitional, a compound and epithelial cells. These are also will having more than 2 to 3 layers of cells are presenting, but above the topmost layer will having a structured cells are elongated or transitional cells are presenting. So due to the presence of transitional or structured cells, these we can call as a structured transitional compound and epithelial cells having more than 2 to 3 layers of cells are presenting, which having a structure in nature. Structure means elongated. So here these are presenting in the urinary bladder as well as ureters. In these regions these are presenting. So we can call them as the transitional and epithelial cells. So these are the two types of a compound epithelial. One is a stratified compound epithelial cells, and second one is a stratified transitional and a compound and epithelial cells, where they are the structure, the upper columnar cells will having a structured cells or elongated cells are presenting. So we can call them as a transitional. That means the cells are having the transitional cells are having these are having a transitional or structured cells are presenting. Examples are a urinary bladder and ureters. So these are the types of the compound that is compound epithelial cells. Here epithelial cells are majorly classified into two types, simple and a compound. Simple means having only one layer of cells are presenting, we can call as simple. If they are having more than 2 layers, we can call them as compounds. So this is about the connective, that is first is here epithelial cells are called as a covering tissue or a lining tissue, where they are cover entire the body of an organism, or here the lining or internally or externally they covers the cavities. So we can call as the lining or a covering tissues. These are avascularized. That means here directly blood supply will not be taken place, but mitosis will undergoes. That means here continuous mitotic cell divisions are taken place throughout their life, where here when damaged cells or injured cells are replaced by the regeneration. So this is the topic of an epithelial cells. So in a next class we will discuss about the next tissue, that is next a tissue that is a connective tissue, that will be discussed in the next class.